Welcome to AHTV Week in Review. I'm Chef Rob, and we're here to talk about what went on at Aortic Hope for the last week. Now, before we get started, I want you to take a moment and hit the like button below. That helps us reach more people like you. And also the bell if you want to be reminded when our programs are posted. We are here for you and here for support. Also want to thank our sponsors before we get going. Cook Medical, a innovative manufacturer of quality medical devices, and Edward Life Sciences. They're a leader in patient-focused medical innovations for heart disease. So we want to thank them for all of their support. And let's take a look and see where we are this week at aortichope.org. There we go. Okay, so here is the website. Most of you know about this, but if you're a first timer, this is located at aortichope.org, where you can find everything you need to know about aortic hope and also aortic disease, including aneurysms and aortic dissections. All the things at the top here can take you, and we're going to talk about all these different programs here. But the big thing at this website, which most people do visit, is to download a copy of our patient guides, our dissection patient guide, and aneurysm disease patient guide, and also in Spanish. So you find them right here. You can also watch them on YouTube. You can watch them being read. If you have issues or trying to read, we will read it to you. So that is a really great option for you. So as you can see, we have all these guides. You just download them here. You can order them bulk if you're in the medical profession and you need them for your hospital or office, or if you need some to spread around, you can get a hard copy for your home. Only one per home is all we do, because they are quite expensive to print, and any donations are appreciated. There's also a donation button down there. I did forget to mention that. So if you have a moment and when you're done, you want to take a moment to make a donation to Aortic Hope so we can continue our mission, that would be great. We are in our 10th year. Can you believe that? We've been helping aortic patients now for 10 years. So let's get a start here on what's happening in the last week. Movement Monday. That was probably today. Every Monday is a Movement for Movement Monday. That means we would just want to move for the sake of moving. It's very important. Sitting and not doing anything, being docile, is really not good for our health, but any movement is good. As it says, you're not behind, you're building. Any start, any small amount, always great. So let's do that. Stop right here and let's just make some motion. Do some things. Get up, stand up, stomp your feet while you're watching, march in place in your chair. Okay? Very, very important. So it is great for the road to recovery. As we say, it's not a race, it's a construction on the road to recovery. So be sure to remember Movement Monday, and then once you get in practice, Movement Tuesday, Movement Wednesday, Movement Thursday. I think you get the idea, right? Great. So Topic Tuesday. Now, all of these things that I'm talking about, by the way, are found right here under our blog. Okay, you'll see all of these. And we also have a lot of things on the right. So these are written by our medical students that work with us. This is Alvaro Jose Martinez Santa Cruz, and he is writing about thoracic aortic aneurysms. We see a lot about this online, people always talking, people asking a lot of questions about a TAA, as it is called. All right, so what are they? These are part of the aorta, right? We know the aorta runs from our heart all the way down below the kidneys, where it then splits into the femorals, okay? Biggest artery in our body, size of a garden hose, which I think he's going to say, so I'll just let you hear. So it is a segment of the aorta in the chest, and it becomes abnormally enlarged and weakened. That is the definition of an aneurysm, losing its normal structural integrity. So the vessel can begin to dilate. That's where it starts with dilation. Then it moves eventually into what we call the aneurysm. And when it does that, it creates a fragile area in the wall of the aorta. So you want to think of it like a garden hose. Here he has a great example here. So because our aorta is about the size of a typical garden hose, that's how big it is. So when it's strong and healthy, you can take high water pressure or think of it as your blood pressure, right there. When it starts to form a weak spot, we get a little bulge, right? And that's the same thing. Then it grows as it gets weaker, and it continues to grow. And often constant blood pressure causes it to expand as it gets weaker. And then eventually the big risk is if the aneurysm can burst because the wall has gotten so thin and so weak that you have a burst, and that becomes an emergency. And you definitely, when that happens, you will probably know it. So where do they happen? The thoracic aortic aneurysms. Well, they're in the ascending aorta, all right, and this is your thoracic, your chest. The ascending aorta, often that's part of the genetics or valve disease. It happens in the aortic arch, which is just past the ascending, so that's right about here, and that is a transition zone, as he calls it, where various pathologies overlap. So you can get inflammation. Their aneurysms that frequently result from existing aneurysms in other places, but that arch is very critical. It sends the blood up into your brain and down your arms with the subclavians and up to the, okay? So then we have the descending, which is part of the thoracic, the part of the aorta that's still there, and this is where it turns down, and that can be disease and atherosclerosis, okay, the hardening. It does make a difference where you have an aneurysm because that will define the treatment. So typically, and this is really important, aneurysms are asymptomatic most of the time. I'm talking really most of the time. They're usually discovered by accident when you have a CT or an MRI or an echocardiogram for something else, and it shows up on that scan. Then we find out that you have one, and that's where treatment can begin. But typically there are no symptoms, okay? So, but if you do, especially when they get large, they can include chest or back pain, shortness of breath, hoarseness, difficulty swallowing because your aorta runs right behind your esophagus. So if it's swelling, it can push on your esophagus and can give you problems swallowing, okay? So as I said, it's usually found in a scan, a CT, MRI, or a echocardiogram. And they will look and measure it, and then they also want to know how fast it's growing, and that they will find out by doing subsequent scans. So usually once you find an aneurysm, your physician will want to do future scans depending on the size, maybe every 6 months or maybe once a year, and they'll measure it again and see how rapidly it's been growing, okay? And rapid in our life is not a good thing, okay? So they're going to look at the diameter. How are they measuring? So that's the side to side, how fast it grows. And then also if you have any comorbidities and anything else that can make it more dangerous. So what are they going to do? Well, we always start conservative. All right, this is going to be blood pressure regulation, the number one therapy, okay, for aneurysms. We're going to try to minimize stress, the wall stress, and continue to surveil. Like I said, continue to do imaging. All right. So the ascending aneurysms, those are from the heart up to the arch, are only done by open surgical repair. We have not perfected, I should say, the intravascular or endovascular repair of ascending aortic aneurysm. So that is an open heart surgery if it needs to be done, okay, if and when. Arch aneurysms are typically, they're very complex and they're done through open or hybrid techniques. I had my aortic arch replaced when I had my dissection, and that was a very complex open heart surgery for about 8.5 hours. And the descending aneurysms, once it turns and starts heading down, heading south through your body, they can start working with endovascular repairs, commonly referred to as a TVAR, okay, thoracic endovascular aortic repair. And this is where they go through your aorta, they enter in through your leg in the femoral, and then run a wire up through the aorta till they find the aneurysm, and then they'll repair it with a stent, okay, or whatever they decide to do. They'll often send you for genetic screening. We'll have different protocols, and they'll also decide how high a risk you are. Because remember, anytime they're going to have surgery, people ask this a lot, you know, how do they decide? Why don't they let me go have surgery right now? Or why can't I have surgery? Because it's usually risk assessment. They're going to look at what's wrong with you, how dangerous it is, but also how dangerous the surgery could be to you. And if the risk of having surgery, of hurting you, is greater than the risk of just leaving things alone, probably not going to do surgery. But if the surgery will improve your life without harm, most of the doctors will have, decide for a surgical solution. So very important. You need to kind of understand that, because we do get a lot of questions about that. So the big takeaway, thoracic aortic aneurysms are often silent, right? Asymptomatic, but carry a very high risk if not treated. So we have to keep track of them. And you can read this article in its full in the blog to get the full understanding. And I do want to thank Alvaro for taking his time to write this for us. Well, last week we had World Health Day. You know that we work very closely with another organization called Think Aorta. It's an international organization, and they are really about helping to educate physicians, emergency room physicians, EMTs, first responders, all those people to think aorta. And same with us, because we had last year think aorta and think family. So if you have an aortic disease, make sure you think about your family and do that as well. So we want to make sure that we are always thinking aorta, because it can often be misdiagnosed. So we have to do that. So thinking aorta saves lives. So know your family history, listen to your body, and do not ignore unexplained chest, back, or abdominal pain. Be your own advocate. Really, really important. You have to speak up and be strong if you go to the doctors or the ER. And if it doesn't feel right and they're not finding what you want or need, or it's not helping, speak up, or have someone there that will speak up for you. We are writing a new book. I mentioned earlier about our patient guides, both in English and in Spanish, hard and on hard copies, and on YouTube, and also available for download as PDFs. But we're writing a new book where actually our survivors, the people that belong and work with Aortic Hope, are writing their stories and submitting them, and we're going to put together a new book, Aortic Hope, Real Stories, Real Recovery, Real Hope. So these are from the last 10 years, people that have mostly done our survivor stories, which are on Saturdays. We've asked them to come back if they wish and tell us how they're doing now and their journey through aortic disease and how it's gone. So if you're interested, you want to share a brief recap where you are today and a photo, you can send an email to stories@aortichope.org. That's the email, stories@aortichope.org, and we will get right back to you and give you the information that you will need to submit your story. John Quick is back. He's coming back. Therapeutic Thursdays. This is a real popular program that we did. John Quick is a licensed therapist and also a survivor. Everybody that works in Aortic Hope are volunteer survivors. And he will be back with his program starting in May. So you can sign up for that. There are ads. And so you can talk with John and discuss anonymously if you wish, which is great, and discuss what's going on in your life that you would like some assistance with and discussion. John, as I said, he's a survivor. He had his dissection, I think, is 16 years ago. So he's been around for a long time with this, which should give you some hope as well. You know, people do continue to live long, normal lives. So if you wish, here is a link right here in the blog. Fill out this form, and John will get back to you about appearing on the show and discussing what it is that you want to talk and getting things set up. So very, very important. So you can read this, learn about John. It's a great program, and look for it next month on AHTV, Therapeutic Thursdays. April, we had a fundraiser. We're 10 years out now, so we would like anybody to please make a donation. All of our donations are used towards our initiatives. No one is paid. That volunteers, no members of the board, no ambassadors, no moderators, no speakers. Nobody is paid. We are all volunteers, and that way 100% of our funds go towards supporting you. So there is a donate button below here on YouTube, and you can click on that and directly make a donation, okay, to help us. And we would really appreciate that. Saturday, you heard me talk about Survivor Series, these for our book. Well, on Saturdays, we do post stories, either written or video, of people that have survived their aortic dissections and aneurysms and surgeries, and talking about how it was, right? Their story. I find them very inspiring to watch, and they give a lot of people hope because even though it was terrible, and I can attest to that, it was a very terrible time in my life when I had my dissection, and I was in the hospital in the recovery, but it does get better. And these stories tell you about that. And sometimes you learn that, you know, some people had it a lot worse off than I did. And we all think that, you know, ours was terrible, and it was, not to minimize, but there are a lot of people out there that had a lot worse situation than I did, or possibly you did. And in a way, that's a little comforting. Okay, you don't feel so bad for yourself when you find out, wow, it could have been a lot worse. So listen to these survivor stories. There's many, many, many of them on AHTV, and you can browse through and watch any of them. But this last week we did Valerie Mandala, and Valerie, we thank you so much for taking the time to give us your story. Events. This is very important here. On our page, you can find out what's happening on Aortic Hope, on AHTV, and also all the things that go on. We have support groups. We have support groups for caregivers, for survivors. We have a Canadian support group specifically for people in Canada. We are developing our Spanish one. We have a French-Canadian one, and we also have bereavement. You can see the schedule here. Caregivers meet twice a month, survivors 3 times a month, the Canadians once a month, and the French Canadians once a month, and the bereavement twice a month. Okay, every other month. I'm sorry, that's what it says. Okay, every other month. So here you'll find the schedule, and these are all live links right here. They take you to the sign-up sheet, because if you do want to attend our support groups, you do have to sign up once, only once, okay? Once you sign up, your name will be put in the email list, and then you will get an email the day of the support group, usually 2 emails, one about 15 minutes before the group opens, and then one when the group does open. So very important, and you don't have to do it every single time. Once you've done that, you're good to go, unless you send a message and we in the support services takes off the takes your name off, but that usually doesn't happen. There'll also be other events here, not just Week in Review. We have the WISE, the Women Inspiring Support and Empowerment, and we have other events. We play bingo. We do lots of things. This will all be on the events page. And watch, May is going to really, really grow. And you're going to see a lot of new activity coming up in May. The Hope Shops. Hope Shops are really important. This is right here on the website at the top, Hope Shops. This is where we do, you can purchase a lot of things to help and to just help us get the message out about aortic hope and how we support others. And anything that you spend, a portion of that does come back to Aortic Hope as a donation. So very important when you're buying some of these things, that does come back. Now, also, I want to mention here on the right, it says Amazon affiliate links. So if you need a new blood pressure cuff and you're going to buy one, maybe from Amazon, you can do it here, come to our Hope Shop, follow that link, and it'll take you right to Amazon to your account. But once you click that, Aortic Hope has been activated, and we will get a percentage donation from Amazon for your purchase. So not only you're helping yourself, you're helping Aortic Hope. And we do the same thing with a pulse oximeter, okay, or often called a pulse ox, right, that measures your oxygen levels and your heart rate, and a pill organizer that we have. So if you're going to buy and need one of those, please do it through the Hope Shop. Now, we'll come down here. You can get other things. I have these, the help belts. Those are here. These go on your seat belts. They're covers that fit over your seat belts so that if God forbid, you have an accident, it will let the EMTs, the first responders, know that you have an aortic dissection or you're an aortic disease patient. Also, there's a little pouch on the inside, where I have a sheet of paper that is, stuck in there with all of my medications, and my doctors are listed so they can reach them quickly in the case of an emergency. Really, really important. Also, the magnets. I have one of those on the back of my car too, so others can see and may ask the question, what is aortic hope or aortic disease awareness? What is that about? Now, if you want to wear our brand, that's even better. You can get t-shirts, hoodies, aprons, stickers, mugs, even water bottles. So when you're doing that movement for Monday, make sure you hydrate, right? Order them here from the Hope Shop. All right. And then we have other things as well. So the jacket, the guides, gift giving. You can order posters if you want to drop them off. I've done that. You may want to do that. If you are so inclined, you can order some posters and go walk around, drive around, walk around, go to your local fire station and see if they usually will, if they would like some of these and put them up in their break rooms or whatever to just remind people about aortic hope and the books when they run across people. You can also take them to your doctor's office or your local hospital and they will put them up. Okay, great. So we have lots of things here at the Hope Shops. So we are back to the beginning. As I said, we were founded in 2016. It's been 10 years. You're going to see more about that, I'm sure, on our Facebook page, which is Aortic Hope at Facebook. And we'll have announcements and here on aortichope.org about things that are going on. So please stay active, follow us, be sure to do that. And remember that Aortic Hope is connecting hearts one beat at a time, spreading hope, creating awareness, and providing support. I want to thank you for joining me and Aortic Hope on AHTV today for the Week in Review. And please, if you haven't done it yet, please look below the screen and click that like button and subscribe and remind. And then if you want to, we would appreciate it, forward some of that stuff to your friends so they can also learn about aortic hope and aortic disease. Thank you again for joining us today. I'm Rob Seltzer.